Well, still on arms, there's some good news from Yendi blacksmiths there who have for years been accused of producing some of the small arms used in the town's conflict. Say they are turning away from that and instead producing farming tools as the people of Dagbon climax the funeral of their slain king Yaa Naa Andani II. My colleague Justice Bedu has been spending time with some of them to find out how a reduction in small arms could help the peace process. Let's speak now to Justice. Hello, Justice.
Hello, Bernice.
I'm sure there's a lot of excitement in Dagbon now. Tell us specifically how the people feel with regards to the issue of blacksmiths and they letting go of their trade of producing small arms to producing farming tools.
So the issue of small arms has for years been a major talking point in terms of the things that have been contributing to the decades of conflict that has affected not just Yendi, but the entire Dagon area. News having the people, some of them who have been behind some of these things, turn a new leaf and saying that we want to go into productive tools like things that are used on the farm and all of that. The will and of the funeral today is a historic mark in terms of the roadmap leading to who becomes the next Yaa Naa. This is the climax of a funeral of a man who was slain sometime in 2002, and so it's a huge event that has attracted sons and daughters of Dagbon and people who support the process here, who are all trooping in, and they've been coming in all through the night, getting in here for this very, very historic funeral here. We are told the vice president will be coming in here for today's Deba. Also, many top government officials, politicians, chiefs from Dagbon itself, but then also from many other neighboring places. Bringing now Mahama Shaibu, who is a member of the publicity committee, the people who have been putting together this funeral. And I must tell you, there are thousands of people who have come in here today for this funeral. So it must have been a lot of work. Mahama, tell us, what are we to expect today?
Well, what we are to expect is a display of culture. It's an exhibition of unity among the Andanis and the Abudu and the Dagombes in general. And the preparedness on the part of the Dagombes to put the conflict behind them and move forward in terms of focusing on development. That's exactly what we're going to do. But then we also see a display of culture, rich culture of Dagbon. Now, this event is preceded by a spiritual journey undertaken by the Kumbungunda, who happens to be the chief of staff or chief of defense staff of the Dagbon state. It took him 3 days to move from Kumbungu to Tamale. He made a stopover from Kumbungu to Yendi. He made a stopover at Tamale and then at Young, and today he came here. What is happening Yendi to take part in the funeral will come with their warrior. When they come, they will fire massively, as you can hear in the background. Then after that, they'll go and visit the tomb of the late Yaa Naa and return to their residence. In the afternoon, they'll come back and then take part in the circumambulation. Now, let me stress that the journey that was undertaken by the Kumbungunda has two important reasons. One is to showcase the battle readiness of Dagon or Dagombes. To demonstrate to others that they were ready for war. But these days we don't have war. But then the spiritual significance is that Dagon is ever ready to defend itself. The other one has to do with the display of culture and the exhibition of the rich culture of Dagon. So these are the two significance of the Kumbungunda. Later in the day, we start the circumambulation. And what is going to happen is that you're going to have the Zohana in front, brothers and sisters, and some other important chiefs like the Kumbunguna and the Sabluguna. Some of them will be riding, will be on their horses, and then they will go around the palace straighter. At every round, at the end of every round, they will stop at the main door to the palace pavilion and perform some traditional rites. That's what they are going to do for 3 times. Once that is done, then the regent, who is Campasiana at the moment, will now then he will disembark from his horse, and then he has a message for the people of Daga. And the message simply is that he's going to tell the chiefs of Myong, Karaga, and Sabulubu that it is they who have lost their father, but that he, the Bangladesh, has lost. And this also has 2 significance. One, it is a possibility that any of those 3 chiefs could take over from the Yaa Naa. From the Yaa Naa. The other point also is that while the Yaa Naa is alive, the chief of Karaga, Sabulugu, and Myong refer to the Yaa Naa as their father. That is the reason why he's going to say that. Once that is done, that ends the funeral. Then tomorrow, we'll have the Quranic recitation, which has to do with the spiritual aspect of the funeral. And then the next program has to do with the of the new Yaa Naa. The last time such an event took place was in 1974, and that was exactly on the 31st of May 1974.
So that obviously
Yaa Naa was skinned. But then the spiritual journey, the last time a spiritual journey was undertaken by the Kumbunguna was on the 30th of May 1974. Then the following day, the Yaa Naa was skinned. So that is exactly the situation at the moment.
So that makes it, as I said, Bernice, a very, very historic thing that many in this place haven't seen their entire life. And it's the reason they've all trooped in here. And I've just seen the trooping in of Nguna, who has been making a 3-day spiritual journey led by what to be the big spiritually, they are the people who are supposed to be protecting the people of Dagbon. They made a 3-day spiritual journey, travel hours.
Thank you, Justice. Apologies for the break in the transmission. But back to you, gentlemen, in the studio briefly. Nanaya, I'd like you to react to the stories we just heard about blacksmiths in Yendi. Should we be looking at that approach in the fight?
Well, I think it's quite novel and it's commendable to the extent that sometimes back the Small Arms Commission actually made monies available to buy out these arms and ammunitions in the system. And now, if blacksmiths who were in the trade of, creating these arms have now diverted into a notable area, a seemingly productive area of the sector, I think there is every cause for small arms to consider, either sponsoring them or getting a lot more people, on board via various incentives. I think it's a very, very commendable move by the blacksmiths, and it gladdens my heart in all of the sad news that we've seen this morning. I think this is some good news there that we can, have some faith in.
Do you still do what he's talking about? Giving out some money, sort of, I don't want to call it a compensation, but trying to use, some tact and some other forms of diplomacy to get these blacksmiths to give up their trade.
I was smiling because the blacksmith in Yendi in particular are a group of people we have mobilized since 2011, and together with UNDP has done a lot of work with them. Let me mention the current regional programs manager of the National Peace Council, who had been with us all through before he joined the National Peace Council in mobilizing the blacksmith in Tamale and Yendi in particular. And so they are people I am very familiar with, and so it gladdens my heart that the work that we have done for almost 7 years, it's all culminating into the peace that we are going to enjoy in Dagbon, and for them to then come out finally to say we are going to lay down our tools. So it's something that we have done time immemorial, and we are happy that we are seeing some results. doing this with the amnesty and offering some incentive to the blacksmith, we call it alternative livelihood. It's something that is part of our core mandate in doing. It calls for huge financial outlay to be able to do that, because you are moving a group of people and their livelihood into another area altogether. You need to find market for them. You need to psych them up psychologically, you know, how you move them. So it's something that we do over time, and I hope that as time goes on, we will see a lot of results like we are seeing in Yendi today.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Johnson Asante, you just heard him, is Senior Programs Manager at the National Commission of Small Arms and Light Weapons, and Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety, Nana Alquada, has also been with us in studio. This is News Desk Tuesday. Well, for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. That's how we end today's edition. Up next is JoyNews Interactive. Do stay.